It's over! The Droughtlander begins again, and this time we don't know how long it will be between seasons, but at least they gave us a little bit of closure. Of course, that was after a whole lot of trauma. The episode begins with Claire's attack, and it is somewhat presented like Roger's near-death experience in that we see where her mind goes. Claire imagines her family safely in the 60s having dinner together. In between dreams, we find out why she's been attacked. Lionel is mad because he figured out she's the one who wrote the birth control article in the local paper, and he is mad about it. They beat her, gag her, torture her. It's horrendous. At one point, she thinks she's going to have some help because a man comes over to her and asks her if the name Ringo Starr means anything to her. Of course it does. She's met another time traveler, and she begs him to help her, tells him she knows how to get home. But he does nothing, and then she is brutally raped by all the men there. Outlander is full of trauma, but at this point, every single person of this family, Jamie, Claire, and Bree, have all been abducted and raped. The odds of that happening seem pretty low. Meanwhile, back at Fraser's Ridge, Roger, Bree, and Jemmy are heading home. They went through the stones, but the reason that the little boy looked so surprised when they fell over was because they never really left. They went in the stones and came right back. Ian is standing there. Roger and Bree say they both thought of home, and maybe that explains why they ended up back at the ridge. When they get back home, they're alerted to the fact that Claire is missing and the men are going to get her back. Ian shaves his mohawk back into submission and puts blood on his face. They end up killing all the men that assaulted Claire, except for Lionel. He's still barely alive, and they take him back to Fraser's Ridge. Jamie carries Claire away wrapped in his plaid, much like the first season. Claire is so happy to see her daughter, a big surprise considering she thought she'd never see her again. Not just because she thought she was going to die. And she's also happily reunited with Marsalee, who has a bruised face from when she was laid out on the stone floor. They tie Lionel up in the surgery, and while it's clear Claire wants him dead, she's promised to do no harm, and she leaves and sobs. But you know who hasn't promised to do no harm? Marsalee. And she takes care of business with the syringe, which seems fitting since he broke the first one. When Jamie comes into the surgery, he finds Marsalee on the floor, upset and worried about going to hell. But as usual, he takes care of everything in stride, returning Lionel to his brother. His brother knows that Lionel deserved what he got, but he also promises revenge to Jamie. At the end of the episode, Claire and Jamie talk about how much they love each other, and in the very last scene, they end up in bed in the nude. Sidebar, is this a normal position for cuddling? We see all of Claire's bruises, and she tells Jamie that she feels safe. And that's it. Overall, this was a good episode, but I'm not sure I liked it. The trauma was a lot. The best part was that since the space between seasons 5 and 6 is sure to be longer than planned, it's nice to feel closure on most of the storylines. They didn't leave fans with a lot of angst to carry them through to season 6. Overall, I enjoyed this season of Outlander and can't wait for the next season.